My beloved brothers and sisters, there are moments in life when you speak, yet no one truly hears you. You explain yourself again and again, but you are still misunderstood. You sit among people, yet you feel alone. And sometimes the pain is not that people disagree with you. The pain is that they never even try to understand you. But let me remind you of something powerful today. Even when the whole world misunderstands you, Allah never does. He knows your intentions when people question them. He knows your sincerity when people doubt you. He knows your struggle when people see only your silence. And that knowledge of Allah is not small. It is enough to carry you through every lonely moment. People judge what they can see, and most of the time what they see is incomplete. They see a moment, not a lifetime. They see a reaction, not the pressure that led to it. They see the surface, not the storm underneath. Human judgment is always limited because people do not live inside your heart and they do not carry what you carry. Allah, however, judges what is hidden. He judges the intention before the action. He judges the struggle before the outcome. He judges the sincerity even when the result looks imperfect. Someone may look at your actions and misunderstand your heart completely. They may see you withdraw and assume you are cold, when in reality you are trying to protect your iman. They may see you remain silent and assume you are weak, when in reality you are exhausted from explaining yourself to people who never listen. They may see you choose distance and think you are arrogant, when in reality you are trying to stay away from what displeases Allah. This is one of the quiet pains many believers carry. You know your intention was pure, but people still question you. You know you tried your best, but others only see what you failed to do. Over time, this can hurt deeply, especially when the misunderstanding comes from people you care about. But this is where faith changes everything. Allah knows why you did what you did. He knows what pushed you to that decision. He knows the nights you struggled before acting. He knows what you were trying to avoid, and He knows what you were trying to preserve. Nothing about you is hidden from Him, not your fear, not your sincerity, not your hesitation, not even the intentions you never acted upon. This is why intention carries such weight in Islam. An action that looks small to people can be enormous in the sight of Allah if it was done sincerely. And an action that looks impressive to people can be empty if it was done for the wrong reasons. Allah's scale is not the same as the world's scale. You may do something quietly, with no recognition, no appreciation, and no applause. People may overlook it or even criticize it. But if your intention was to please Allah, that action is already successful, even if the world never acknowledges it. This understanding brings peace to the heart. It frees you from constantly seeking validation. It stops you from exhausting yourself, trying to correct every misunderstanding. It reminds you that not every accusation deserves a response, and not every judgment needs an explanation. Sometimes constantly explaining yourself actually weakens you. You start living for people's approval instead of Allah's pleasure. You begin adjusting your actions not to please Allah, but to avoid criticism. And slowly, without realizing it, you give people a power they were never meant to have. Islam teaches us balance. If you are wrong, correct yourself. If you have harmed someone, seek forgiveness. If clarification is necessary, speak with wisdom. But if your intention is clean and Allah knows your heart, you do not need to stand trial before everyone. The Prophet himself was misunderstood. He was accused, mocked, and judged unfairly, despite his truthfulness and mercy. If the best of creation was misunderstood, why do we expect a life free from misjudgment? Being misunderstood does not mean you failed. Sometimes it simply means you chose a path others could not understand. Sometimes it means you chose obedience over popularity. Sometimes it means you chose restraint over reaction. And Allah sees that choice. When you feel the urge to defend yourself to everyone, pause. Turn to Allah first. Speak to Him about the injustice you feel. Place your frustration before Him. Ask Him to purify your intention, to correct you if you are wrong, and to strengthen you if you are right. There is a deep comfort in knowing that Allah understands you even when no one else does. It means you are never truly alone. It means your effort is never wasted. It means your sincerity is never ignored. People may reduce you to a label. Allah knows your story. People may judge a chapter. Allah sees the entire book. People may misunderstand your silence. Allah hears your unspoken prayers. So when people misunderstand you, do not rush to explain yourself to everyone. Do not drain your heart trying to convince those who have already decided not to understand. Focus instead on maintaining sincerity with Allah. Guard your intention, refine it, purify it. Because if Allah understands you, you are already successful. And He already does. Not every prayer is spoken. Not every plea is articulated. Some of the most sincere du'as never pass the lips at all. There are moments when your heart is too heavy to form sentences. You sit quietly, overwhelmed, unsure of what to even ask for. You know something hurts, but you cannot explain it. You know something is missing, but you cannot name it. You know you need Allah, but the words feel stuck inside you. And this is where many people misunderstand themselves. They think that because they could not verbalize their pain, Allah did not hear it. They think that because they were silent, their dua was incomplete. But Allah is not limited to language. He is the one who created the heart, and He understands its language better than you ever could. Allah hears the dua you make when you say nothing at all. He hears the sigh you release when you are alone. He hears the quiet breath you take before sleep when your thoughts refuse to settle. He hears the tear that falls without a sound. He hears the ache that tightens your chest when you smile in front of people but feel broken inside. There are wounds you cannot explain to people without sounding weak. There are struggles you cannot describe without feeling exposed. There are fears you cannot speak because you are afraid of being judged or misunderstood. So you stay silent and people assume you are fine. But Allah knows you are not. Allah knows what you are asking for even before you ask it. He knows what you are afraid of losing. He knows what you are hoping for but are too scared to hope openly. He knows the dua you repeat in your heart again and again, even when your tongue stays still. This is a mercy from Allah. It means you do not need perfect words to be heard. You do not need eloquence. You do not need to know how to phrase your pain correctly. You just need sincerity. Sometimes people think dua only counts when it sounds beautiful, when it flows smoothly, when it feels spiritual. But some of the most accepted duas are messy, broken, interrupted by tears and filled with confusion. Allah does not reject a dua because it was clumsy. He accepts it because it was honest. Think about the times you were so overwhelmed that all you could say was, Ya Allah, nothing more, no explanation, no request, just His name. That alone is a dua. Calling upon Allah is already worship. And when it comes from a place of need, it carries immense weight. Allah hears you when you do not know what to ask for. He hears you when you are tired of asking the same thing again and again. He hears you when you feel embarrassed, repeating a dua that has not yet been answered. He hears you when you stop asking because you are afraid of disappointment. And even then, He does not turn away. Sometimes Allah delays the answer, not because He did not hear you, but because He is teaching you to sit with Him longer. Sometimes He withholds the outcome, not as punishment, but as preparation. And sometimes He answers your dua in a way you never expected, because He knows what you truly need, not just what you asked for. You may think your silence means distance from Allah. In reality, it may be closeness. A heart that turns to Allah without words is often a heart that trusts Him deeply. It is a heart that knows Allah, understands without explanation. This is especially comforting for those who feel emotionally overwhelmed. When life piles up and you feel like you are drowning internally, Allah does not wait for you to explain yourself. He already knows. He already says. He already understands. So do not think your quiet moments are empty. Do not think your silent tears are unnoticed. Do not think your wordless pain is ignored. Allah hears what your heart is saying even when your tongue cannot speak. And this should change how you see your relationship with Him. It means you can come to Allah exactly as you are, confused, tired, broken, unsure. You do not need to fix yourself before you make dua. You do not need to calm down before you turn to Him. You do not need to have clarity before you ask. Bring your chaos to Allah. Bring your exhaustion to Allah. Bring your silence to Allah. Because the one who created your heart understands its cries better than anyone else ever could. One of the most painful experiences in life is doing something with a clean heart and still being misunderstood. You know your intention was sincere. You know you were trying to do the right thing. Yet people look at you with suspicion, question your motives, or judge your actions without knowing the full story. Over time, this can make you doubt yourself. You start replaying your decisions in your mind, wondering if you were actually wrong or if you simply failed to explain yourself properly. You begin to think that if so many people misunderstand you, maybe the fault must be yours. But this is not always true. Being misunderstood does not automatically mean you are wrong. Sometimes it simply means you chose a path that others could not see clearly. Sometimes it means you made a decision based on faith, not convenience. And faith-based decisions often confuse people who do not see life through the same lens. The truth is, people judge based on their own experiences, fears, and expectations. They filter your actions through their own understanding of the world. If your choices do not align with what they would do, they may assume something is wrong with you. They may never stop to consider that you are acting from a place of conviction, not rebellion. This is why seeking people's approval can become dangerous. If you allow public opinion to be your compass, you will constantly change direction. One day you will feel confident and the next day you will feel lost, simply because opinions shifted. This instability drains the heart and weakens faith. Allah, however, gives you a different standard. He does not measure you by how many people agree with you. He measures you by sincerity, effort, and obedience. If your intention was to please Allah and your decision was within what is permissible, then misunderstanding from people does not cancel that. Many righteous people were misunderstood in their time. They were criticized for their choices, questioned for their restraint, and mocked for their priorities. Not because they were misguided, but because they refused to follow the crowd. They valued truth over acceptance and principles over popularity. When you are misunderstood, it is important to pause and reflect honestly. Ask yourself if there is something you need to correct. Seek Allah's guidance. Consult people of knowledge and wisdom. But once you have done that, do not let endless opinions shake your foundation. There is a difference between accountability and self-destruction. Accountability helps you grow. Constant self-doubt erodes you. Islam encourages reflection, but it also encourages confidence in truth. Sometimes silence is interpreted as guilt, when in reality it is wisdom. Sometimes stepping back is seen as weakness, when in reality it is self-control. Sometimes choosing patience over argument is misunderstood as surrender, when in reality it is strength. Allah sees that strength. You are not obligated to live your life explaining yourself to everyone. If you try, you will lose yourself. Not everyone deserves access to your reasoning. Not everyone is capable of understanding your heart. And that is okay. What matters is that you are honest with Allah, that you are willing to admit mistakes when you make them, that you are committed to growth and sincerity. Beyond that, people's assumptions are not your burden to carry. When being misunderstood hurts, remember this: Allah understands you fully. He knows the reasons behind your choices. He knows the effort it took to stand firm. He knows the restraint it took to stay silent. And His understanding outweighs every accusation. So do not let misunderstanding make you abandon what is right. Do not let criticism make you compromise your values. And do not let loneliness convince you that you are on the wrong path. Sometimes the right path feels lonely precisely because it is right. And Allah walks with those who choose it. Loneliness is not always about being physically alone. Many people are surrounded by family, friends, and conversations, yet they feel deeply isolated inside. The hardest form of loneliness is not the absence of people, but the absence of understanding. It is when you feel that no one truly sees you, no one truly listens, and no one truly understands what is happening within your heart. This type of loneliness can be heavy. It can make the nights feel longer and the thoughts feel louder. You replay conversations in your mind, wondering why you feel so disconnected, why explaining yourself never seems to help, and why your heart feels so tired even when life appears normal on the outside. Over time, this emotional isolation can weaken a person, especially if they believe they are facing it alone. But Islam teaches us a powerful truth that changes how we understand loneliness entirely. When people pull away, Allah draws nearer. When the world becomes distant, Allah becomes closer. Loneliness is not always a sign of abandonment. Sometimes it is an invitation from Allah to come closer to Him. Allah is not distant when you are hurting. He is not absent when you feel forgotten. In fact, those moments of isolation are often when Allah is closest to you, listening more attentively, watching more carefully, and opening doors of connection that were previously ignored because life was too loud. When distractions fade, the heart becomes more aware. When people are no longer filling every moment, there is space for remembrance. When conversation ends, reflection begins. This is why many people find their strongest connection with Allah not during times of ease, but during times of loneliness. It is in these moments that the heart speaks most honestly. Loneliness softens arrogance and exposes dependence. It reminds you that no matter how many people surround you, your soul ultimately belongs to Allah. It pushes you to turn inward and upward instead of outward. And when you do, you realize that Allah has been there all along, waiting for you to call upon Him without distractions. Allah listens when you speak to Him in the quiet of the night. He listens when you sit in silence feeling lost. He listens when you feel too tired to ask for anything but comfort. He listens when your heart feels heavy and you cannot explain why. There is no moment of loneliness that goes unnoticed by Him. This closeness of Allah is not always dramatic or emotional. Sometimes it is calm, sometimes it is subtle. It is the peace that settles in your heart when you remember Him. It is the strength that allows you to keep going even when you feel unsupported. It is the reassurance that you are not abandoned even when you feel unseen by people. Loneliness can either break you or bring you closer to Allah. The difference lies in where you turn with it. If you turn inward and isolate yourself from Allah, loneliness becomes despair. But if you turn toward Allah, loneliness becomes a form of spiritual companionship. It becomes a moment of rebuilding, realignment, and renewal. Many people spend their lives running from loneliness, filling every silence with noise, entertainment, or people because they are afraid of what they might feel if they slow down. But those who learn to sit with loneliness and bring it to Allah discover something profound. They discover that Allah's presence fills the space people leave behind. When no one checks on you, Allah is checking on your heart. When no one listens, Allah listens without interruption. When no one understands your pain, Allah understands it completely. And unlike people, He never grows tired of you returning to Him again and again. Loneliness does not mean you are forgotten. It often means you are being drawn closer to the one who will never leave you. And once you understand this, loneliness loses its power to harm you. It becomes a doorway to a deeper relationship with Allah, one that no human connection can ever replace. So when you feel lonely, do not assume Allah is far. It may be the moment He is closest to you. One of the greatest burdens people carry is the need to constantly defend themselves. When you feel misunderstood or falsely judged, the natural reaction is to explain, justify, and correct every narrative about you. You want people to know the truth. You want your intentions to be seen clearly. You want your name to be protected from assumptions and unfair conclusions. But living in a constant state of self-defense is exhausting. It drains your energy, hardens your heart, and keeps your mind trapped in what people are saying rather than what Allah is doing. Islam offers a different perspective, one that brings deep relief to the soul. Allah Himself defends those who trust Him. Allah's defense does not always look the way we expect. He does not always silence critics immediately, nor does He always correct misunderstandings publicly. Instead, His protection works quietly, precisely, and at the right time. He places truth where it needs to be, and He removes falsehood when it has served its purpose. Sometimes Allah defends you by exposing the intentions of others, not through your words, but through their own actions. Sometimes He clears your name in conversations you are not present in. Sometimes He changes hearts slowly, allowing people to realize their mistake on their own. And sometimes He allows misunderstandings to remain, not because He failed to defend you, but because your dignity is not tied to public opinion. Allah knows which battles are worth fighting and which ones will only harm you if you engage. When you trust Him, He spares you from conflicts that would have consumed your peace. He shields you from arguments that would have dragged you away from patience and sincerity. He protects your heart from becoming bitter, even when your reputation is questioned. There are times when silence is not weakness but wisdom. Silence can be an act of worship when it is done for the sake of Allah. Choosing not to respond to every accusation does not mean you accept injustice. It means you trust Allah's justice more than your own ability to argue. Allah is fully aware of what is being said about you. Not a word escapes His knowledge. Not a thought is hidden from Him. And because He knows the truth, He also knows how and when to reveal it. Your role is not to control the narrative, but to remain upright in your conduct. Many people discover later in life that Allah protected them from situations they desperately wanted to defend themselves in. What felt like silence at the time turned out to be mercy. What felt like injustice turned out to be a filter, separating those who truly cared from those who were only watching from a distance. Allah sometimes defends you by removing people from your life. When misunderstandings arise, certain relationships fade. This can be painful, but it is often protection. Not everyone deserves access to your heart, your story, or your energy. Allah knows who belongs in your journey and who was only meant to be a chapter. There are also moments when Allah defends you in the hereafter rather than in this world. Not every injustice is corrected immediately. Not every false judgment is overturned publicly. But nothing is lost with Allah. Every word spoken against you is recorded. Every patience you show is rewarded. Every silence you maintain for His sake is stored with Him. On the day when all truth is revealed, Allah's defense will be perfect and complete. No explanation will be needed. No misunderstanding will remain. The truth will speak for itself and Allah will be the witness. Trusting Allah to defend you requires faith. It requires restraint. It requires believing that your value is not determined by people's opinions, but by Allah's knowledge of your heart. When you reach this level of trust, something changes within you. You stop chasing validation. You stop reacting to every provocation. You stop carrying the weight of other people's assumptions. You begin to live with dignity and calm, knowing that the one who knows you best is also the one who protects you most. And that is a defense stronger than any explanation you could ever give. One of the quietest forms of pain is struggling without being seen. You wake up every day carrying responsibilities, worries, and emotional weight that no one recognizes. You continue to function, to show up, to fulfill what is expected of you, yet inside you feel worn down. People assume you are strong because you never complain. They assume you are fine because you keep going. They assume you do not need help because you never ask for it. But what they do not see is the effort it takes just to keep moving. Many believers carry hidden struggles. The struggle to remain patient when life feels unfair. The struggle to lower the gaze in a world full of temptation. The struggle to hold on to prayer when the heart feels heavy. The struggle to be kind when you feel misunderstood. The struggle to stay sincere when no one appreciates what you do. These struggles do not come with applause. They do not attract attention. They happen quietly inside the heart where no one else can see.